What's up guys, my name's Chronic here on this Destiny video, and today we're going to be talking about how to get through the Prestige Nightfall on today's, I think, October 17th, is not obviously today, but October 17th, Nightfall in 2017. Now, it used to be the Inverted Spire, but there was a glitch that made it impassable. There was the little arc pulses that were unable to spawn, and it made it impossible to complete without doing some roundabout strategy, like it takes a minute to just kind of go back and forth and waste your time. But now it's switched over to Pyrimidion with Torrent and Extended Timer, and it gotta say, one of my favorite archetypes of modifiers for Nightfalls, and this one is definitely a fun one. So the modifiers are Torrent, which makes it so your class abilities, grenades, and melee recharge faster, not your super. Your super does have a regular charge rate on it, but the grenades are amazing. This is going to be a grenade tossing, catapult tossing Nightfall for you guys, and it is a lot of fun. So the standard rules apply. The best nades in the game are the Striker Titan pulse grenades, as well as the Stormcaller Warlock pulse grenades, and I'm sorry hunters, you just don't have really that much of a great grenade. The other modifier is going to be Extended Timer. There's no way to get time back, so you start with 17 minutes, and of course on the regular Nightfall with not Prestige, you start with 22 or 23 minutes, and in this video I'm going to be telling you how to get through the Prestige Nightfall, and you can apply the same tactics to get the Rat King on the regular Nightfall. When we did a regular Nightfall with these tactics, we were actually able to finish with 10 minutes remaining. I think it was 10 minutes and 17 seconds, which was pretty incredible. So you just use this strategy and you should be able to get through it without much problem. So overall, the kind of classes and abilities I'm going to go through, again, the Striker Titan is just the most amazing grenades in the game. Pulse grenades are great. You can get double pulse grenades, and while you're throwing one grenade, the other grenade is already recharging, so it actually makes it so you can have a lot more grenades a lot faster. Another way you can run the Titan is actually with the Sunbreaker, the big hammer thing. You actually have this one exotic chest piece called like Heart of Fire. It's the one with like the flaming belly area that makes it so whenever you have your super, all your abilities recharge faster, or your grenade recharges faster. Either way, basically you can just throw grenades before your next grenade even arrives. But basically, you can actually throw grenades and have your new grenade actually ready for you before you can even physically click it, so you can just keep chucking grenades as fast as physically possible. If you stand in the sunspots of it, you can't catch up to it. It literally charges in half the time of your animation to be able to throw a grenade with the, I believe, the firewall grenades is what my buddy was using, and it is a lot of fun. It's very, very, very effective for the enemies, and it's a lot of awesome things if you don't want to use a Striker Titan. The other classes, like the Warlock, I recommend using the Art class for the obvious pulse grenades on that class. As far as Hunters go, I recommend the Tether because of the invisibility that you get for dodging, and because all the abilities have been upgraded. Basically, you dodge, you get invisibility for like 2 seconds, you lose invisibility for about 1 second, and then you can dodge again and get it all back. So it makes it so very useful for escaping, staying alive, and in a later part, you can actually skip a whole bunch of enemies by using this. If you have one Hunter on your team, you can actually kind of cheese it and get through it really quickly. As far as weapons go, I recommend explosive weapons, Nameless Midnight, Mononon for that secondary, and rocket launchers, and maybe even fusion rifles. I think Merciless is also really nice for those heavies. I think Wardcliff Coil was definitely a fantastic one, especially because of the heavy ammo glitch lately, where you can just pick up one heavy ammo with the Wardcliff, then switch to another heavy, and you have full heavy ammo. Although even without that, the Wardcliff was amazing for taking out a whole bunch of adds, and made it a lot easier in the final boss fight using that Wardcliff to kill off the enemies, as well as throughout the whole Nightfall. And finally, I just wanted to mention, as far as the Hunter, there's a bunch of different grenades on the Tether class. The Vortex Grenade or the Void Wall Grenade are definitely viable, but other than that, they're really not that effective, not that useful. You can chuck them, they do damage, but they're definitely not going to dish out the damage that a Striker Titan can do. And if you want to do this and you don't care which class you're on, I would recommend Striker Titan. Easiest, most straightforward, most fun way to do it. And for all the classes, all the subclasses, I recommend making sure you use your supers on the adds and not the boss. I believe the Hammer Titan you can use on the boss a little bit, for the most part, the Striker, the Stormcaller, and the Tether, use those on the adds. It will be a lot better. And lastly, for the armor pieces, try to get any of the ones that increase or decrease the time it takes to get your grenades back. Like the Warlock has the little shrouded Misty helmet, I think, of Another World, Eye of Another World, I think it's called. They also have the Crown of Tempest to increase the speed of the arc abilities. I think the Titan has that Heart of Fire that I mentioned earlier. The Hunters have the Orpheus Rig, which makes it so their tether will give you a bunch more super energy the more enemies you tether in it, which is really nice. I recommend that. And then overall, if there is another one that I haven't mentioned, you can also use those to be able to recharge your abilities faster. All right, so all of that said, I know that was a bit of a mouthful, all that part. As far as you go through the different Nightfall parts, the only hard areas is going to be that first part, the part with the four kind of glowy pillars on it, and of course the final boss fight. fight. Everything in between should be pretty straightforward, and in general, you should just stay with your team, fight all the enemies as you go along. Don't use your Sparrow, don't run past, don't try to Sparrow past anything, just fight them and fight them together. As far as the lasers go, take your time. You do not want to spend 30 seconds spawning all the way at the back of the lasers without your teammates being able to revive you just because you're trying to go through fast. Take your time, don't get baited into it, and just go through, and you should have no problem. The first time you're going to have a problem is at the very beginning, that opening area with the plates on the ground. I recommend just sending one person down there for the plates, probably a Titan with a Titan shield. Titan shields are definitely king in this Nightfall, as well as Warlock, different summoning rifts. I call it a summoning rift. Wow, that was cool. And the different healing rifts and the damage rift and all that stuff are also pretty nice, but overall the Titan shield is just freaking fantastic. If you combine that with the Crest of Alpha Lupa, you can actually get your health back, just like a little bit of health, I think like a 5th or a 4th health back from just spawning those shields, and you can spawn them like every 5 seconds, which is amazing. So on that first thing, again, you leave 2 people up top, or just shoot everybody before you even go down. Send that one guy down to activate the plate. When that plate activates, he's going to need to hide for a little bit or just try to shoot the enemies. Again, the people up top will just AC 130 down from above and just destroy all the enemies. The harpies are usually a big problem, but with pulse grenades, they should be pretty much dead in one pulse grenade. Once the enemies with yellow bars start to come out, that after doing the second plate, you guys can jump back up to the top area and just again AC 130 these people. The harpies will be a big problem because they have a ton of health. Just start chucking nades. If you're a hunter, you can kind of dodge and stay alive because you're invisible a whole bunch of the time, and hide. If you're the other classes, use your class abilities to try to defend yourself, like Titan Shield and of course the Warlock Rift. Once you've killed these guys, you can actually Sparrow down through that area, and once you see the enemies, get off your Sparrows and just start trying to kill people. And then you have lasers, and then you'll come through another set of areas. I believe this middle section here, which is gonna be the kind of average difficulty area, just move up one at a time. Enemies are gonna spawning in and out, kill the snipers, and you shouldn't have too much problem here. Make sure you stay with your team, don't rush ahead, and you should be able to revive your teammates without much problem. The next hard area is going to be later on in the mission, the area right before the boss area. It's going to be the place with the kind of totems that's reaching the sky, the Vex kind of holographic totem things. Those are going to be one of the hardest areas in this Nightfall because of the fact there's so many snipers, invis people that are healing other people, and it's going to kind of a big thing, and it's a little bit of a problem. One way to tackle this part that makes it a lot easier is to have a hunter with a tether class on it and his invisibility, have him just go around and actually just stealth all of the different totems that come up. So what you do is you just dodge into invisibility, go down there, put your ghost out, do the thing, dodge again, and go invis again, and again you're invis for like 2 seconds, and then you have the about a second before the ability recharges, and then you can go invis again, which makes it very, very effective. Try not to shoot the enemies, and they won't argue as much, and you should be able to get through and be able to activate all 4 of these without killing any enemies. Your teammates should just kill the enemies as they go along while they're waiting, so that it's a lot easier to do it. Once that portal opens there, it should be a lot easier for your teammates to just move through. So just have one person go through. If it's that hunter, he can teleport everybody once he activates the boss, and they'll teleport everybody down if they're dying over and over because the enemies. You just have to get one person into that portal. There was another little part that I found a little difficult, but after doing it a few times, it was actually a lot easier. It's going to be about 3/4 of the way through here. It'll say activate the altars, and there's going to be 3 of them. It's basically the plates on the ground. There's a bunch of different taken in this area that makes it really difficult because they keep throwing darkness balls at you, and that's kind of hard. I recommend clearing the guys out in front, then go to the left side, go to that plate, activate that, clear out all the enemies before moving to the next plate, do that plate, more enemies will spawn. You should be able to back up into this area again, throw grenades, take out those enemies, do the last plate, and then just run through the portal. Don't even worry about the enemies that spawn in right behind the wall, and you should be able to get to that hard area that I just described. And finally, the boss is going to be probably one of the most difficult parts of this Nightfall, obviously. And I gotta say, there's different parts that are easy and different parts that are hard on this one. For the most part, that first part of the kind of, I'm going to teleport into my protection shield, and then you have to step on the different plates, is not too hard because he gives you a lot of cover. One thing I should mention is he can pretty much one-shot snipe you every time. It happens several times while doing it, so you gotta watch out for the snipe. Try to keep cover from him. If you have a Titan with Titan Shield, that makes him pretty king, and the Titan Shield overall is just a fantastic thing and should not be wasted. Again, you move from left plate to right plate, he'll open up, you shoot him, he teleports again, you go left plate, right plate, he'll open up, you shoot him, he teleports, but he never goes back behind that shield on the 3rd time. Shoot him enough until his head breaks and kind of falls apart, then the hard part will happen. This is the part where he spawns a whole bunch of enemies and that he runs up into your face and shoots you and punches you and does a whole bunch of crazy stuff. I recommend personally is actually grouping up as a team. Don't get separated in this area because of the fact there's no cover. You want to abuse your Titans with all of his shields and stuff. Go to one of the area pillars, kind of platforms on one of the sides of the triangle. Kind of huddle up together, use Warlock Rifts, use invisible hunters to try to distract over on the side, and just hide behind those shields and take cover. If the boss ever comes up to you, his melee will not go through the Titan shield, so you can kind of abuse this and take advantage of it and make it a lot easier. If you guys find yourself dying very often, I would recommend using certain ad-killing heavies like the Wardcliff Coil. And again, on this last part, I would recommend trying to kill the ads in the area. It's really not worth it to try to shoot the boss because these ads really kill you really fast. So use your tethers, use your rockets, try to kill as many as you can, use your grenades like nuts, and you should be able to thin the enemies in the area enough to be able to kill this boss without much trouble. I believe in ours, we all died out like 3 or 4 times, and we're still able to do it with a decent amount of time remaining. I think we had like 14 seconds at the end. The second time we did it 15, and then after that we had like 3 minutes because we figured some stuff out. Even when doing this on the normal Nightfall, which I did do on this week, we're able to finish this with about 10 minutes remaining. This is with 305 people, 305 people, and actually having tons and tons of grenade, knowing exactly what to do, and having way more than enough light. This is a lot easier, obviously, when you're highlight, but it is a lot easier of a Nightfall, I gotta say, when compared to a lot of the other Nightfalls. So if you guys want to get the Rat King or do the Prestige Nightfall, I would definitely recommend doing it this way. If you're still having trouble going through the Nightfalls, try to review this video a bit, maybe watch some other people's video of doing this. They might have something special to say that you're kind of missing, but overall, if you're too low of a light, you're not going to be able to do it, and I recommend waiting until you are high enough light or doing the normal version of it first. And lastly, you never do it first try. Even me, who's able to do it like 3 times a week, I believe it took at least like 3 or 4 tries before we even did it the first time with barely enough time remaining. Once you start to get it down, you'll know where the enemies spawn, you'll be able to dodge them more, and you'll stop dying as much, and it should be no problem after enough tries. Anyways, that's the video for you guys today. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure you leave a like down below, and of course, subscribe for more Nightfalls in the future, as well as description tutorials, top 5s, and stupid stuff. I've been your host, Iconic, and I'll see you guys on the next one.